Once upon a time, the world was a mess. A super strong sunshine messed up Earth real bad about 10 years back. It got crazy hot, like oven hot, reaching 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Everything got wrecked by the sun, making it super hard to live here. But there's this guy named Finch who's still kicking around. He's smart and wears this cool suit that keeps him safe from the scorching heat and sunlight. Every day, he's out there, rummaging through stuff with his robot buddy Dewey. Today, they're searching through a store. Finch checks this gadget he has, and it tells him the sun's rays are pretty strong here. While Dewey grabs whatever's left in the store, Finch grabs some dog food. After he's done in the store, Finch does this thing where he marks the place. It's his way of remembering where he's been so he doesn't go back there for no reason. Then, we see him driving through a town that's totally empty and wrecked because of the messed up ozone layer. The sun's rays are so strong that nobody can hang outside. Most folks had to bail, leaving the city deserted. Suddenly, Finch's suit starts beeping, warning him about a big storm coming up. He whips his truck around and floors it while this massive storm is right behind him. Lucky for him, he makes it to his secret lab underground. It used to belong to the company he worked for before everything went bad. Turns out, Finch isn't doing too good himself. He's sick with tuberculosis, a really bad illness. At his home, his dog and best buddy Goodyear is waiting for him. He gives Goodyear lots of hugs and love, then gets some food ready from what he found earlier. But there's not much left for him to eat. While Goodyear chows down, Finch just sips on a drink because their supplies are almost gone. Later, with the help of a smart computer, Finch starts teaching it stuff like how to take care of a dog and do household stuff. He's doing this because he loves Goodyear so much, and wants to make sure Goodyear will be okay after he's gone. Finch is also super into studying UV rays and radiation. He's really serious about it. Later on, Finch does this big thing. He takes Dewey's eyes out and puts them into his new robot. When he switches on the robot, he starts sending info to it. It takes a bunch of tries, but finally, the robot gets what Finch is saying and nods its head. Finch is so happy that the robot gets him a bit. He's excited because it's like progress for him. Then he plays around with his dog, thinking maybe he's about to have a new friend soon. Finch asks the robot to say something about itself. The robot tells Finch it's got rules, like not hurting people. But the most important rule is that when Finch isn't there anymore, it has to look after Goodyear, no matter what. Suddenly the power goes out. Finch goes out to fix this big fan thing that makes power. He fixes it, and boom, the lights are back on. Inside, the robot decides to call itself Jeff. At the same time, there's this huge storm heading their way. Finch gets back and hooks Jeff up to this thing that tells about the weather, so they know what's coming. Jeff figures out that not just one, but 4 big storms are coming in the next day. They're stuck, can't dodge them, and these storms are gonna last for like 40 days. Finch hears this and figures they gotta split from there real soon. He thinks San Francisco might be their best shot. So, Finch gets going on building the rest of Jeff's body. When it's all done, Finch makes Jeff learn how to walk. It takes a bit, but Jeff finally figures it out and starts walking around. Finch is thrilled that Jeff's learning, but Goodyear, the dog, isn't into Jeff at all. Goodyear doesn't trust him one bit. As the storm gets closer, Finch packs up all the important stuff and unplugs Jeff's data transfer when it's only at 72%. Because of this, Jeff's not fully grown, so he acts like a kid in a way. Finch calls Dewey to come along, forgetting he took Dewey's eyes out. So, he sticks a camera on Dewey so he can see again. The 4 of them hop onto an RV and start heading to San Francisco. At first, Jeff is super curious, trying to learn everything Finch does. They manage to dodge the storm for now and stop at this empty town. Finch puts on this super suit to protect himself from the sun and gets Jeff to come outside. He starts teaching Jeff basic stuff like how to find things and how dangerous the sun is. They even have some fun making popcorn in the sun. That's how crazy the sun is now. The good times don't last long cause Finch spots another storm coming their way. He tries to drive away fast, but the storm catches up. Finch hurries outside with Jeff and tells him to help tie down the RV with wires. When Finch gets worn out, Jeff steps up and finishes the job. Finch gets back in the RV and secures it as best he can. The mega tornado hits, and all the wires start snapping, one after another, until just one's left holding on. Luckily, the storm passes, and everyone's okay. Finch is impressed with how Jeff helped out, but he's bummed because the front tire got wrecked. They've got a spare but no way to lift the RV to change it. Then Jeff steps in and just lifts the whole thing because he's crazy strong. He tells Finch to go ahead and switch the tire. The next day, Jeff tries to talk to Goodyear, saying he's trying to learn how dogs communicate. But Finch wakes up and explains to Jeff that it takes time for them to get along with Goodyear. Later, they see a sign indicating that San Francisco is really far away, like 1,522 miles. Jeff asks Finch about trust, so Finch decides to share his own story. He talks about a time when he fixed a computer issue all by himself during a project, but gave credit to everyone on the team, earning their trust that way. Finch's health keeps getting worse all this while. They make a stop at a restaurant, and Finch gets really sick, throwing up blood. Realizing he doesn't have much time left, Finch takes Goodyear inside and spends time playing with him. While Finch is busy at the restaurant, Jeff starts playing with the RV, messing around with music and trying to drive. He accidentally lets go of the handbrake and bumps into another car. When Finch sees what happened, Jeff acts like he didn't mean to do it, but then he tries to reverse the RV and crashes it again. Finch gets really mad and shows Jeff how bad his skin gets in the sunlight. He yells at Jeff, saying his main job is looking after Goodyear. After they leave the restaurant, Finch decides to teach Jeff how to drive. At first, Jeff's not so good, but he gets better and starts driving smoothly. Finch is happy about this, but the dog still isn't sure about Jeff. At night, they stop to camp by the road, and they see the amazing northern lights because the ozone layer's messed up. Jeff suggests driving at night because daytime's risky. However, Finch tells Jeff that it's risky at night because some hungry folks might show up and it's not safe. The next morning, Finch gets really sick, throwing up blood and feeling cold. Jeff takes care of him and asks if he should call a doctor. After that, they keep going on their trip. When they reach a big city, Jeff wakes up Dewey, and they go to find stuff they need. They spot a hospital that looks like it's been robbed, but Jeff doesn't know that. He goes inside. When Finch wakes up, he realizes both robots are gone. Even though he's really weak, he puts on his special clothes and goes to find Jeff and Dewey. Someone's watching him from the shadows. Upstairs in the hospital, Jeff's happy because he finds food, medicine, and a cool jacket for himself. In the meantime, Dewey discovers some snacks, oblivious to the bear trap lurking nearby. As he reaches for the treats, the bear trap inflicts severe harm. Finch, devastated upon finding Dewey, expresses his apologies and powers him down. Shortly afterward, Finch detects a rumbling sound and locates Jeff. Emphasizing the danger, Finch insists they can't linger there any longer. Both of them make a hasty escape, with Finch struggling to keep his footing. Upon reaching their RV, they swiftly accelerate, but a pursuing vehicle appears. After covering some distance, Finch entrusts the steering to Jeff, cautioning him against errors. He observes the persistent car tailing them and decides to turn off the headlights, relying on Jeff's ability to see in the dark. Despite the ongoing pursuit, Finch encourages Jeff to press the accelerator and increase their speed. As they drive into a storm, Finch grabs the wheel and steers the RV off the road, aiming for an underpass. Despite Jeff's attempts to explain that the RV is too tall for the underpass, Finch doesn't listen and insists. The inevitable happens, and the RV crashes, resulting in the destruction of its solar panels. After the crash, Jeff uses his strength to push the RV inside the underpass. The car that was tailing them approaches, pauses for a moment, and then drives away. With the coast clear, Finch rushes outside and discovers the extensive damage to their solar panels. He blames himself for the poor decision and admits he can't fix it. Jeff reassures him that he can still take them to San Francisco, but Finch snaps at him to stop talking. An angry Finch returns to the vehicle while Jeff remains outside in the rain. After a bit of investigating, Jeff joins Finch inside and shares his belief that they'll reach the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Meanwhile, Finch opens up about another story, explaining why he struggles to trust people and recalling the moment he found Goodyear in a bag. He describes Goodyear's fear and loneliness and how he made a promise to protect him no matter what. Finch admits how hunger drove him to hide when he witnessed a tragic incident in a supermarket, where young boys killed a young girl and her mother, turning him into a coward. The next morning, a sign shows it's 480 miles to San Francisco. Jeff takes the wheel while Finch rests, feeling weak. Suddenly, Jeff spots a butterfly on the windshield. He stops, wakes Finch, and points to it. Finch reaches out and realizes he's not affected by the sunlight. Stepping outside, he feels the sun. The UV radiation has lessened to where it's no longer a threat. He sees a flower and another butterfly and bursts into laughter, feeling the joy of the moment. Continuing on their journey, they pass through blossoming plains. Later, Finch decides to get dressed, and they opt for a picnic in the sun, a simple pleasure Finch hasn't enjoyed in over a decade. During the picnic, Finch opens up about more memories from his past, expressing a wish for a more fulfilling life. Hearing this, Jeff excitedly suggests that they can make it to the Golden Gate Bridge in about 18 hours if they leave now. However, Finch admits he can't make it. A saddened Jeff promises to take care of Goodyear when Finch is gone. Finch then brings out Goodyear's ball, and they play fetch. He hands the ball to Jeff, explaining that it's one of the first steps in building trust with the dog. They share a brief moment of fun, but suddenly Finch starts coughing up blood, staining his white suit. When Jeff offers to help, Finch says he's already done so. He then shakes Jeff's hand, and they share a heartfelt hug. In this moment, it becomes evident that Jeff, despite being a machine, has emotions too, and he's visibly upset. Jeff gently helps Finch into the RV, where he lies down. Goodyear provides comfort to Finch, while Jeff gathers their belongings. Finch gives his beloved dog one final pat on the back before peacefully passing away. They choose to honor Finch's memory by burning his body in the plains, along with his UV suit. After the mourning process, Jeff continues with Finch's daily routines, ensuring Goodyear is fed and cared for. Later, they share a moment of joy playing fetch. With Jeff's companionship, Goodyear begins to feel safe and undergoes positive changes. Jeff acknowledges his responsibility towards Goodyear, and they resume their journey together, forming a genuine friendship. Upon reaching the Golden Gate Bridge, Jeff creates a memorial for Finch, discovering messages left by people for their loved ones. This suggests the existence of more survivors and the possibility of family reunions. In the final scene, Jeff attaches a drawing of Finch, Goodyear, and himself to the fence as a tribute. The two companions then embark on a new journey together. And with this movie conclude, thanks for tuning in, guys.